Oh my, I'm having trouble with the camera. Hey, 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 hit the hay to supersize and grow your business. How on earth does sleeping help you to grow and build your business? Well, the expression hit the hay, actually a relatively new expression from the 1930s. It was a slang expression among homeless people who often wandered around from place to place looking for work as well as looking for a place to sleep or hit the hay. And it became synonymous with whenever and wherever we sleep, we say we're going to hit the hay. I use that expression a lot. I tell my kids or I tell people that I'm with, hey, I'm tired, I'm going to hit the hay. I'll do it with my coaching students. I know there's one in particular who keeps me up late at night because he's a night person and I'm a day person or a morning person, and he wants to work and talk and be coached in the late hours of the night. And I'll get to the point where we've been on the phone for a couple of hours, I'll be like, I gotta hit the hay. I've got to go to bed. I'm a morning person. I got to get up early in the morning to do my routine and to coach other people. So I got to hit the hay. Do you use this expression? Do you believe or know that sleep is critical to growing and supersizing your business? I didn't used to know this. It's like one of those things that you hear over and over again that we know is good for us, or the things we know are bad for us, yet we don't really do them anyway. I did this for decades. I didn't get enough sleep. I convinced myself that 4 hours sleep a night was plenty, and that if I got 4 hours sleep, I was doing good. Now, there were nights I got less than 4 hours sleep, but if I had an average of 4 hours sleep a night in a week, I felt like I was doing okay. Up to the point that I had a sudden cardiac arrest, and actually I died, right? So obviously 4 hours sleep was not enough and I wasn't doing okay. And it wasn't until I was interviewing a doctor on one of my podcast episodes, and he said, and I actually asked him to repeat it because it was like I had heard it for the first time. He said, our bodies only heal themselves when they're sleeping. So if we have any kind of an injury, physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, guess what? The only time our bodies and cells and minds and everything else heal itself is while we're sleeping, when we're in the sleeping downed state, right? Our bodies are a lot like our cell phones in that we have to recharge our batteries. We recharge our batteries by eating and drinking water and, fueling them with what we need to actually physically function. But we also need to recharge our bodies every day by sleeping. Now, it's not just how long we sleep, it's the quality of the sleep that we get. Do you ever find yourself laying down in your bed at night and you've got 50 projects going on in your business that you're trying to coordinate or have your finger in the pie of all of them, and you get this monkey mind. Your mind's going a million miles a minute or a million miles a second while you're trying to fall asleep. I used to be that way. I had a 400 item to-do list. I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, and not only was I not getting enough sleep, when I did finally hit the hay or hit my pillow, I wasn't falling asleep. So instead of getting 4 hours sleep, I was lucky if I was getting an hour of sleep a night. And that was because I didn't know how to turn my brain off, turn my mind off, and shut down all of the stuff that kept filling my head. So I think I learned this from my dad, but I learned to keep a notebook, or he always had a yellow legal pad by his bed, a notebook or a pad by my bed. And when I laid down, if my mind was doing that, I would immediately sit up, turn on the light, and just do a brain dump. I would write down everything that was in my mind, and then I would often end with what was my biggest, most pressing, burning question or desire or thought or project or challenge before I went to bed. And I would write that down, and I would ask myself that question, and then I would just go to sleep, and I would sleep on it. And I can't tell you how many hundreds of times I would wake up in the morning with the perfect answer or the perfect solution to that problem or that challenge. Or I would at least know the next step, the next thing I needed to do to move me forward on that project. And that helps to improve the quality of my sleep as well. So, are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting decent quality sleep? Are you turning off your monkey mind? Another thing I like to do when I go to bed to improve the quality of my sleep, and that really helped me a lot, was to turn off all the screens. And I know we've heard these things before, but are you actually doing it? For decades, I went to bed with the television in the room on, volume off, but just the light of it on. And I didn't think that was negatively impacting my sleep until the sudden cardiac arrest, when I started studying and learning more about sleep. And I was like, oh, I need to turn the screens off. And so I replaced that with meditations, meditation tapes. I just went on, I actually heard about it in a network marketing company I was on, one that really worked well for me, and I bought it on Amazon, and then I found a couple other ones on YouTube that really helped me to get to sleep right away. The one I bought was like within 5 minutes of laying down, I was out. I never actually physically heard or consciously heard the entire recording because it would put me to sleep right away. So there's things like that we can do to increase the speed that we go to sleep, so our body is sleeping and repairing itself and recovering and recharging our batteries. And there's other things that we can do to help us get to sleep, because the quality of our sleep, the amount of recharging we do for our batteries, determines the amount of energy we have the next day to put into our business. If we don't have energy, if we don't have enthusiasm, if we don't have excitement, if we don't feel good, it's almost impossible to grow and build our business. We can only get out of things what we put into them. And in order to do that, we need to make sure that we're giving our business everything we've got. And that involves taking care of ourselves, which inevitably means getting the right amount of sleep for us and the quality of sleep that we need. So, a couple questions for you today, and would love if you'd share in the comments below. Number one, how much sleep do you need? Do you know how much sleep you need? I know that I need 7 hours sleep a night, 7 to 8. More than 8, I don't feel good. Less than 7, I can function, because I functioned for a lot of years on 4 hours sleep a night. But I know I'm not as good as I could be if I'd gotten a nice 7 hours sleep, a nice uninterrupted 7-hour chunk of time where I actually sleep. What do I get on average? I would have to check with my mobile or my wearable device to find out for sure, but I'm thinking between 6 and 7 hours. I actually get between 6 and 7 hours. Used to be I needed 8 or more, and I only got 4, but of that 4, maybe 1 or 2 decent quality hours of sleep. And that wasn't enough for me to function. It wasn't enough for me to keep going long term. And I paid the price for that on my health, and I had to actually stop what I was doing with work for a while and focus on my health. And that's what happens when we don't take care of ourselves, when we don't get enough sleep, when we don't do what we need to do. Our bodies will let us know when they've had enough. And it's amazing. We can take a lot, but we can't take as much as we think we can, or we can't go forever, which is what most of us think we can do. So share in the comments below, how much sleep do you need? How much sleep do you get? Just those 2 numbers. I'd be really curious. And you can do hours, I think I need 10 hours and I get 3. Whatever it is, just write it down. And remember, it's just a snapshot of what it is right now. But I want to show other entrepreneurs and other people that they're not alone in the amount of sleep that they need and the amount of sleep that they get. And if you don't know the amount of sleep that you need, put a question mark and then start experimenting on yourself and figuring out when you feel your best, because that's the amount of sleep that you need. That's it. Go out, have a fantastic day. I will, of course, be with you tomorrow. If I can help you in any way, share that in the comments below or direct message me.